Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about circulatory system. The circulatory system of vertebrates shows significant evolutionary modifications, especially in the heart structure, aortic arches, and major blood vessels. These variations are adaptations to different modes of life. That means aquatic versus terrestrial. Second one, respiratory mechanisms, gills versus lungs, and metabolic demands, ectothermy versus endothermy. And next, we have to observe the evolution and morphological diversity of the heart. The evolution of heart occurs in two aspects. First one, increase in the number of the chambers of heart. Second one, conversion of single type of circulation to complete double type of circulation. Next, we have observed the single chambered heart. In primitive chordates like branchiostoma, that means amphioxus, the heart is single chambered and tubular. It is a median contractile vessel laying ventral to the pharynx. Two chambered heart. In cyclostomes and fishes, the heart is formed of two chambers. They are atrium and ventricle. The heart is in S shape. In addition to this two chambers, there are two more chambers are present. They are sinus venosus and conus arteriosus. These two are not true chambers, but they are the accessory chambers of the heart. The atrium opens into the ventricle by an atrioventricular aperture, guarded by a pair of valves. Only venous blood passes through the two-chambered heart, hence the name venous heart. The venous blood enters into the heart through sinus venosus and leaves the heart through conus arteriosus. The venous blood from the heart is carried to the gills for oxygenation, hence the name branchial heart. Branchial heart. In two-chambered heart, the blood passes through the heart only once. This type of circulation is called as single type of circulation. Next, we discuss about three-chambered transitional hearts. In dipni, amphibians, reptiles, the heart composed of three chambers. They are two auricles, one ventricle. Two auricles are separated by an interauricular septum. In dipni, the most urodil amphibians, the interauricular septum is incomplete. So heart of dipni is 2.5 chambers. Amphibian's heart shows an advanced over the piscine heart. The interauricular septum is complete. Ventricle is undivided or single, but its thick muscular wall is raised into trabeculae, permitting only little mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated bloods. In urodils, conus is reduced and respiratory replaced by a bulbous arteriosus. The heart of reptiles is more advanced than the heart of amphibians. In most reptiles, the ventricle is partially divided by an incomplete interventricular septum. Hence, the heart of reptiles is said to be 3.5 chamber. In crocodiles, the interventricular septum is completed. So, they have a proper 4-chambered heart with 2 auricles and 2 ventricles. Two types of blood, namely oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood, passes through the heart. This type of circulation is called double type of circulation. Next, 4-chambered double circuit pulmonary hearts. The 4-chambered heart is found in crocodiles, birds and mammals. The four chambers are 2 auricles, 2 ventricles. 2 auricles are separated by an interarticular septum. The 2 ventricles are separated by interventricular septum. The sinus venous and conus arteriosus disappear. Left auricle receives oxygenated blood from lungs, pours into the left ventricle, which pumps it to entire body through systematic circulation. Right auricle receives deoxygenated blood from the body, passes into right ventricle, which pumps it to lungs for oxygenation. Thus, there is complete double circulation occurs. In 4-chambered heart, such a heart is known as pulmonary heart. The oxygenated blood stream and deoxygenated blood stream do not mix. Next, modification of aortic arches. So students, observe here. Students, observe here developing of heart. In this picture, we are observing auricle, ventricle, conus, sinus venous, pericardium. Pericardium is a protection layer of the heart, ventral aorta. So these are the structures present in fishes. Next, scutellodon. This is also fish. Observe in this picture. Ventral aorta, conus arteries, arterial semilunar valves, posterior semilunar valves, ductus cuveri, wall of ventricle, cardian dentine, atrium. So these are the structures present in scutellodon fish. Next, this is frog heart. This is frog heart. Carotid arch, lingual artery, systematic trunk, pulmocutaneous trunk, right auricle, truncus arteriosus, ventricle, postcalval, pulmonary vein, left auricle, precaval. So these are the parts present in amphibians hearts. That means, for example, frog heart. Frog belongs to which phylum? amphibians. Next, we have observed the reptiles' hearts. Reptile heart. In reptile heart, we have observed the immovable trunk, inanimate trunk, pulmonary artery, opening of pulmonary vein, sinus arterial aperture, right auricle, ventricle, interventricular septum, dorsal aorta, left auricle, subclavian artery. These are the structures present in uromastics. Example, uromastic means reptiles. Next, observe here, this is bird heart. This is bird heart. Precaval, pulmonary artery, pulmonary vein, left auricle, left ventricle, right ventricle, aortic arch, postcaval, right auricle. These are the structures present in bird's heart. Next, the last one heart is our mammalian heart. So, in man, precaval, aorta, pulmonary artery, pulmonary veins, left auricle, left ventricle, postcaval, dorsal aorta, right ventricle, right auricle. So these are the parts present in mammalian heart. Okay, students. Next, we will discuss about modifications of aorta. So, basic embryonic plan. When the heart is being formed a vertebrate embryo, a blood vessel called ventral aorta appears mid-ventrally below the pharynx. It soon gets connected the conus arteriosus. The ventral aorta runs forward and divides at its anterior end into two aortic arches. So these aortic arches passes upwards and then turn posteriorly above the pharynx as lateral dorsal aortic. The two lateral dorsal aorta unite just behind the pharynx to form a single median dorsal aorta, which continues behind into tail region as caudal artery. From the dorsal aorta, paired and unpaired arteries arise which supply various organs of the body. The anterior extensions of the two branches of the ventral aorta are called external carotid arteries. The anterior extensions of two branches of lateral dorsal aorta are called intercarotid arteries. The typical number of aortic arches in vertebrates is 6 pairs. The embryo of all vertebrates contains 6 pairs of aortic arches. These aortic arches connect the ventral aorta to the lateral dorsal aorta and pass just in front of the corresponding gill cleft. The first aortic arch is called the mandibular aortic arch. The second aortic arch is called the hyoid aortic arch. The remaining aortic arches are called the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth aortic arches. Modifications of aortic arches. The main differences in arterial system of vertebrates is the changes in the number of aortic arches. In lower chordates, the number of aortic arches is more. In higher vertebrates, the number of aortic arches is less. This is just the reverse of evolutionary trends exhibited by the heart of chordates. As evolutionary scale is ascended, the number of chambers in the heart is increased, but the number of aortic arches reduced. Primitive chordates. Among chordates, the maximum number of aortic arches is found in branchiostoma. It contains nearly 60 pairs of aortic arches. Heptarcturus contains 15 pairs of aortic arches. Petromyzon contains 7 pairs, and Myxin contains 6 pairs of aortic arches. Each aortic arch is formed of two components, namely an efferent branchial artery and an efferent branchial artery, the two being connected by a network of capillaries. Now observe this picture. The primitive elasmobranch has 7 pairs of aortic arches and Hexanchus has 6 pairs of aortic arches. Scoliodon contains 5 pairs of aortic arches and Teleosteophis contains 4 pairs of aortic arches. In most sharks, the first pair of aortic arches disappear. So there are only 5 pairs, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 7, 6, 5 and 6 of aortic arches. In Teleosteophis, the first 2 pairs of aortic arches disappear. Hence, there are only 4 pairs of aortic arches. That means 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th in Teleost. The polypterus and lungfishes gills are poorly developed, so that a pulmonary artery arises from the 6th aortic arch on each side and supplies blood to the developing air bladder or lung. Each aortic arch is formed of two components, namely an efferent branchial artery and an efferent branchial artery. In fishes, the anterior extensions of the paired ventral aorta give rise to the external carotid arteries. The anterior extensions of the paired lateral dorsal aorta give rise to the internal carotid arteries. In tetrapods, true internal gills are absent, so that aortic arches do not break up into efferent and efferent arteries. First and second arteries totally disappear in all tetrapods. Next, we observe after completion of fishes aortic arches. Next, we will discuss about the amphibians aortic arches. So, observe in this picture. Here, amphibians aortic arches. Urodils or tailed amphibians live in water and keep their external gills permanently along with lungs. Their aortic system partly changes from that of fishes. Usually four pairs of arches, third, fourth, fifth, sixth are present, but in some species, fifth arch may be incomplete or reduced. The connection between the third and fourth arches may stay as a small blood vessels called the ductus caroticus. The sixth arch on both sides develop into the pulmocutaneous artery, which carries blood to the skin and lungs. It also remains connected to the lateral dorsal aorta through the ductus botalli. Next, aneurons. In the larval stage of an aneuron or tailless amphibians, the arrangement of aortic arches is smaller to that of adult urodels because they breathe through gills. During metamorphosis, when the gills are lost, the aortic arches 1, 2 and 5 disappear. The ductus caroticus also disappears and the third arch carries oxygenated blood only to the head. The fourth arch on both sides continues as the dorsal aorta to supply the blood to the rest of the body except head and lungs. The ductus arteriosus also disappears and the sixth arch carries deoxygenated blood only to the lungs and skin for purification. Therefore, adult aneurons have only 3 functional arches, that are third, fourth, sixth, which are also present in higher vertebrates. Next, we will observe in the reptiles aortic arches. So this is reptiles aortic arch. Reptiles are fully terrestrial animals. Their gills disappear completely and are replaced by lungs. Only 3 functional aortic arches, 3, 4, 6 are present. Due to elongated neck, shifting of the heart backward and partial division of the ventricle, some new changes occurs in the aortic system. The entire ventral aorta and the truncus arteriosus split into 3 chambers: left systematic arch, right systematic arch, pulmonary aorta. These are present in fourth, sixth. The left systematic arch arises from right ventricle, while the right systematic arch arises from the left ventricle. Pulmonary aorta also enlarged from right ventricle. Ductus caroticus and ductus arteriosus are absent. The third aortic arches forms the carotid arch. The common carotid arteries of both sides connected with the right systematic arches. Next, we discuss about the birds and mammals. So, aortic arches in birds and mammals. Observe in this picture, in birds, there are only 3 pairs of aortic arches, 3, 4, 6 present. The third arch becomes carotid artery, the fourth arch becomes systemic aorta, and sixth arch become pulmonary aorta. First, second, fifth and the left side fourth arches disappear. The ventral aorta split into two portions, systemic aorta and pulmonary aorta. The systemic aorta is connected to the left ventricle, the pulmonary aorta connected to the right ventricle. The fourth aortic arch of the right side persists as the right systemic aorta. The fourth aortic arch of the left side functions as the left subclavian artery. Ductus caroticus and ductus arteriosus disappear. And next we observe in the mammals. In mammals, three pairs of aortic arches are present. The third arch becomes the carotid artery, the fourth arch becomes the systemic aorta, and the sixth arch becomes the pulmonary aorta. The ventral aorta splits into two portions, systemic aorta and pulmonary aorta. The systemic aorta connects to the left ventricle and the pulmonary aorta is connected to the right ventricle. The fourth aortic arch of the left side persists as the left systemic aorta. The fourth aortic arch of the right side functions as the right subclavian artery. Ductus caroticus and ductus arteriosus are absent.